Let me read to you a passage from the first chapter of St. Mark's Gospel, verses 21 to 28. It's the Gospel for Tuesday of the first week in Ordinary Time. St. Mark writes, "They went to Capernaum, and when the Sabbath came, Jesus went into the synagogue and began to teach. The people were amazed at his teaching because he taught them as one who had authority, not as the teachers of the law. Just then a man in the synagogue who was possessed by an evil spirit cried out, 'What do you want with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God.' 'Be quiet,' said Jesus sternly. 'Come out of him.' The evil spirit shook the man violently and came out of him with a shriek. The people were all so amazed that they asked each other, 'What is this? A new teaching, and with authority? He even gives orders to evil spirits, and they obey him.' News about him spread quickly over the whole region of Galilee." That's from Mark chapter 1, verses 21 to 28. What does it suggest to us? Well, it suggests Christ's authority. You know, one of the things that is taken for granted in any research into a great teacher or writer is, if the materials are available that is the development of that teacher's thought. His thought developed. Buddha developed in his insight into suffering and evil. He came to see that enlightenment and the attainment of nirvana was the answer. Muhammad developed in his understanding of what he considered to be his revelations. Aquinas developed in his thought, and there have been many studies of the development of the thought of John Henry Newman, and so it could go on. Jesus Christ also developed in his humanity. We read in the Gospels of the Gospel of St. Luke that the child Jesus grew and became strong, being filled with wisdom, and the grace of God was upon him, in Luke chapter 2 verse 40. But one of the many notable things about Jesus Christ is that from his first appearance on the public scene, he is filled with the powers and the authority that marked his person. He is filled with them. He knows who he is, he knows his divine mission, he knows his great powers, he knows what is to be revealed, and he knows his final end. He is absolutely assured in his confrontation with opposition, such as the opposition he encounters immediately from the demons. This seems to have been the first kind of resistance our Lord met with, that mounted against him by the satanic world. Then there followed that which came from the religious leaders, their opposition. Well, that our gospel scene today is drawn from St. Mark, which many scholars regard as being that of Simon Peter. Christ has been baptized by John. His public mission has commenced. He has returned to Galilee, and his preaching has begun. He has called the first of his apostles, Simon and Andrew, James and John. He has just taught in the synagogue at Capernaum. All are amazed at his doctrine and the authority with which he taught it. That is to say, at the very outset of his public ministry, precisely as prophet, Christ manifests supreme authority. Well, let us linger a little on the demonic reaction to Christ's teaching in the synagogue of Capernaum. The entire synagogue is in a state of wonderment and admiration for Jesus. They had not seen anything like his authority among the scribes. This spectacle of Christ's manifest authority seems to have been unbearable for an unclean spirit there in the synagogue. Christ has not sought the demon out, and without any provocation, the demon shouts out against Jesus. The anger and anguish of the demon seems to be spontaneous amid all the fascination with the person of Jesus. So holy, so strong, so assured, so towering a person does he seem from the very outset. The devil, speaking as if part of a whole company, causes a further sensation. It demands that Jesus leave them alone. It throws an accusation at him of being vindictive, harsh, cruel, and all this without cause. As we heard, "What do you want with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us?" The demon childishly attempts to throw Jesus off balance by revealing to the assembly his secret, that he is the unique man of the ages. "I know who you are, the Holy One of God," it says. It is the bravado of one who knows it is all over, now that this one has appeared on the scene. The devils may even have guessed that this Messiah is much more than a mere man, and they are in confusion before him. Well, Jesus immediately acts with sovereign ease. The demon is silenced by his mere word and driven out. The devil, shouting in helpless anger, like one smashing the windows and slamming the door as he leaves, shook the man violently and came out of him with a shriek, as we heard in the Gospel. The entire spectacle exuded power and authority. There was no struggle by Christ, no hesitation, no uncertainty as to his powers and knowledge. He was the master and lord of the situation, and of all things pertaining to God. It was, we might say, all part of the opening shot, and it sounded like a thunderclap. Things were to be different from that point, and all could see it, even the devils. No one then, not at any point nor in any point in the future, could dominate Jesus Christ. The climax of his domination occurred when he freely submitted to the cross, and with that came the victory and the glory. As we contemplate the beginning of our Lord's public ministry, in the passage we've heard, let us marvel at his goodness and his greatness. He is great. He shall be great, the angel had said to Mary when he asked her consent to God's plan. He is great. There is nothing better that we could possibly do than place ourselves by his side. He is the stronger man who has come to defeat the one in possession. Let us then be one with him and make his mission our own, and do so every day.